Hell Island, Poveglia, Italy. Islands conjure dreams of paradise, an escape from the realities of world, a perfect patch of sand where you can relax under rustling palms and gaze at a serene blue sea. But not all islands have such appeal. Some islands have turned out to become the lair of ghosts and center of paranormal activities owing to the past histories that are experienced on the island. Here is why Poveglia, an island in Italy, is regarded as the scariest place to be in Italy. You are on Daily Horror. Here, we bring you gravest of horrors that lurk around in our world, most of which are around you and you don't even have an idea. So, if you are thrilled by terror and consider yourself brave enough to face any dreadful situation, subscribe and turn on your notification to get notified anytime we put up a new video. Poveglia, also nicknamed Hell Island, is an island located between Venice and Lido in the Venetian Lagoon, northern Italy. A small canal divides the island into two separate parts. The existence of the island dates as far back as 421 AD. It was invaded in 1379. The island of Poveglia has a history chock full of tragic events going back thousands of years. During the Roman Empire, the island was used to house victims of the plague in order to protect the rest of the country, forcing inflicted people to live and die in isolation. During the medieval era, when the plague returned and killed off nearly 2/3 of Europe's population, Poveglia was again called upon to take in the sick and dying. Dead bodies quickly began to overcrowd the island, and thousands were dumped into large common graves. In many cases, the bodies were burned. Some overly cautious Italian communities even got into the habit of shipping away anyone who showed the slightest signs of illness. Many of those people had not actually been infected with the plague at all and were literally dragged to Poveglia and dumped atop piles of rotten corpses. The tragedy of Poveglia Island became even greater in 1922 when a mental hospital was built on the island. The isolation and privacy offered by the island allowed for disreputable scientists and doctors to do as they pleased to their patients. Reports of widespread abuse and heinous experiments began to float back to the mainland, bringing with them the screams of the tortured souls trapped there. Poveglia legend tells of a particularly demented doctor who worked at the island's mental hospital in the early 20th century. He believed that lobotomies were a great way to treat and cure mental illness, so he performed lobotomies on numerous patients, usually against their will, while the procedures were heinously wicked and painful too. He used hammers, chisels, and drills with no anesthesia or concern for sanitation. He supposedly saved his darkest experiments for special patients, whom he took to the hospital's bell tower. Whatever he did in there, the screams from those being tortured could be heard across the island. Karma eventually caught up with the wicked doctor. According to the story, the doctor began to suffer his own mental torture and was pursued by the island's multitude of ghosts. Eventually, he lost his mind and climbed to the top of the bell tower and flung himself to his death below. Some say he may have actually been pushed either by an angry island spirit or by some of his furious patients. Supposedly, a nurse witnessed his fall, claiming that he initially survived, but that a ghostly mist overcame his body and choked him to death. Somehow, the mental hospital remained open until 1968. Since the closure of the mental hospital in 1968, visits to Poveglia have been forbidden, but people who are interested in experiencing a bit of the paranormal find their ways there. The island is feared among the Italians, as no Italian will be willing to step foot on the island. However, all who venture there return shaken. One thing visitors report experiencing is the sensation of being washed. Others report being scratched and pushed by invisible forces. Some entities have even been said to push visitors into walls or chase them down corridors. Many believe that hundreds of thousands of tormented souls still remain trapped on Poveglia Island. From the massive influx of plague victims who were forced onto the island to those who were tortured at the mental hospital that was once stationed there, a sense of sorrow and suffering continues to permeate from the island to this day. In fact, it has even been said that you can still hear their screams. People who have been to the island give accounts of encounters they said cannot be explained. Some said they see ghostly figures floating around the island. There are also people that claim they hear bell ringing from the bell tower on the island at night. With more than 100,000 plague victims and mental patients buried on the small island of Poveglia, it is no surprise that human bones continue to wash up on its shores. The fact alone is enough to creep out any potential visitors or buyers. Even fishermen steer clear of Poveglia's shallows for fear of picking up human bones in their nets. Years after Poveglia Island's mental hospital was shut down, a family decided to purchase the island, intending to build a private holiday home there. They arrived and got settled in on the first day, excited to begin their new adventure, but that very first night was filled with such horrors, and within hours, the family fled, never to return. They reported that their daughter's face was nearly ripped off by an angry resident entity. With so much reports of horror from this island, will it be possible to have some kind of civilization there? Will you be interested in living on the Hell Island? Will you agree to spend a night or two on the island? Let's get talking in the comment section. Also, remember to like and share this video. Till we meet again, stay spooked.